It is a Thursday evening, and I am a ScreamingWyvern. And every Thursday, I like to reach into my big bag of role-playing games and find something suitable to share to everyone. And tonight is probably one of my scarier ones because I'm going to be doing a story about something I know nothing about. That's right. I'm going to play a game about the queer experience. Now, this is something I have been looking forward to and planning for a while, but I, of course, am apologizing in advance to anyone for any stupid-ass decisions I make during the course of this. So, let's go ahead and start off with some explanations. This is a solo role-playing game. Solo role-playing game basically means that you have all the creativity and storytelling, and more importantly, randomness of your standard tabletop role-playing game, except instead of having a specific game master or dungeon master, or in my case, dungeon judge, you are letting prompts guide you. At least in this specific one, it's all prompt based because it is a storytelling game, usually referred to as a journaling game, where you go ahead and you tell the story, write it down, or whatever floats your boat. Obviously, in this case, I don't have to write anything down because I've got you lovely people, and the fact that I'm streaming means it's being automatically recorded, so close enough. Tonight's game is a little different from other things I've done in that it has a few content warnings. I think I've put them in some places where people can see them, but it should still be noted that there will be themes of mortality, grief, transphobia, body horror, and body dysmorphia. So let's go ahead and stop talking about what the story could be, and let's go ahead and look at the story itself. So, here we have it, A Body to Die For, the Bare Bones edition. Basically, it's called the Bare Bones edition because at some point, the author was planning on doing further prettifying, more art, more stuff like that. But this is probably the first time that I've actually had, hey, I'm going to go ahead and stream your game. Does that sound fun? And them going, oh, okay, yeah. Have fun with that. That's pretty deep stuff. So, I'm terrified. So, let's go ahead and start off with the essentials. I am playing this on Tabletop Simulator. I need dice and cards to play, so nice and easy setup. But let's go ahead and get more detail on that. So there is the safety content warning one more time, just to be on the safe side. But here is the story. Your character is on a quest to snatch self-actualization from the jaws of death. Failure is a likely outcome, but this game is not about dying. It's about fighting to live a better life. Uh, sensitivity warnings, changing prompts. I'm going to stick with the with what I've been given. And you know, this entire page is about safety tools, taking care of yourself, all that sort of stuff. The kind of thing that every session zero of a TTRPG should have available. But let's go ahead and go for the meat of the story. You are an apprentice necromancer studying under the man on the hill. The hill was once a priory, but the last nun died a century ago. The old girls are still here. They're just skeletons. Mostly mindless skeletons. Necromancy and all that. The buildings are in similar conditions. Some of the walls are missing, and the belfry leans at a precarious angle. That hasn't stopped those clattering bone bags from ringing the brass bells loud enough to wake the dead, or rather, loud enough to wake you, because you actually sleep. The dead don't. Not here. You're the only living human who still wanders these crumbling halls. Your necromantic teacher, the infamous Man on the Hill, a lich lord who insists you call him Master Moth, is undead, as are the rest of his servants. Your daily companions are ghosts, vampires, ghouls, and zombies. You are welcome here, but you stand out among them like a trail of blood on snow. You are transgender. You were born with a body and a spirit that are at odds with each other, and you have reached a breaking point. But there is hope. The more you learn about necromancy, the more you realize you might have the power to make your outsides match your insides. Your teacher is a virtuoso when it comes to corpses and souls, but living flesh recoils at his touch. He cannot give you the body you want without corrupting your spirit. He encourages you to make this project a thesis of sorts. A trailblazer, he smirks, cracking, mummified skin, just like me. If you want to live as your true self, you'll need to gamble on your humanity. One false move, and you will end up like your master, or worse. So I have, here's the character sheet. Isn't it lovely? I have my own copy of it here. So you begin the game with 6 stat points to distribute between the two stats, spirit and body. It should be noted that I have played a similar game by the same author. That one was called Hedgewitch. That one skews a lot younger. I wouldn't say safer, because it is about learning to handle mistakes. But yeah, I've got the link to their itchy site there. If you like what you see, absolutely feel free to check out. If you like what you see, but think that it's too horrifying for you to enjoy by yourself, definitely check out Hedgewitch. So, I get 2 stats, 6 points. I am going to go ahead and, let's see, spirit. Your spirit is the intangible power that drives and defines you as a person. Challenges that threaten your spirit chip away at your sense of self and drive you towards a soulless undeath. Body. Your body is the flesh that binds your soul to the physical plane. Challenges that threaten your body chip away at your connection with the corporeal world, driving you towards the powerless existence of a specter. So, sometimes I'm going to have events where I need to check against my spirit. Sometimes it's going to be body. Failures is basically going to be, oh, you failed the spirit test. Well, now at the end, when we're counting up points, you want both your body and spirit to still be okay. Otherwise, you're going to end up as not necessarily the kind of undead that you want to be. I am going to say, because of the fact that this is a story about a person's whose body is not their own, I'm going to go ahead and put 4 points in spirit and 2 points in body. So the body is weak, but the spirit is strong. Or I don't think that's the original one. Newman. Necromancers start the game with 1 Newman. Newman is a magical manifestation of your force of will. It gives you power over flesh and death, but can leave you barren in your wake. If you want to use necromancy to address a challenge, you don't have to test the skill. Simply expend 1 Newman, then decide what spell you are casting and how it solves the problem. Mark the card on your character sheet. There is a section here, down at the bottom, for anything that I have solved using the necromancy magic instead of a actually taking the skill test thing. Choosing to live gives you strength every time you successfully resolve a tough rated challenge with a stat instead of necromancy. Gain 1 Newman, gain 2 Newman when you successfully resolve a hard rated challenge. Basically, Newman would be our experience in another TTRPG. Okay, so somewhere it said, yes, I start the game with 1. So why don't I go ahead and start with that there 1? Withering. So in the first stage of the game, you can send your Newman to cast up to 6 necromantic skills before you start to wither. Afterward, you get this penalty. Okay. So, to play this game, I will need 2 6-sided dice, which you should be able to see on the screen as there. And a standard deck of playing cards. Make sure there are 2 jokers inside the deck and shuffle it well. Okay, so this is where the fact that I've played another game of this type before gets interesting. So the situation is the Joker ends the game. Not the first one, the second Joker will end the game. And that's when you count up your points and see ultimately what ending you get in this story. I'm going to go ahead and split this into 2 piles. Oot. I'm going to put one of the jokers into the pile. Whether or not this will make the game longer or not, we'll find out. But at least this way we've got, some hope of going for a while. or not abruptly ending the game 2 cards in. So we discussed the... I read the story. Let's go ahead and quickly go over one very important piece of information. Okay, so instead of having a failed challenges, a spirit challenges, and the body challenges, that is going to be tracked basically by the location of cards. So, really, what we are looking at as being important here is the name, which in my never-ending quest to be as creative as possible will, of course, be Wyvern. Now, pronouns makes for a slightly challenging situation. This is a story about something that I am completely unfamiliar with, that I have never had to suffer. This is a story about body dysmorphia. The only thing I can imagine is that if I suddenly found myself in a woman's body, that would be deeply uncomfortable for me. So we're going to go ahead and just go with the pronouns he, him as being the desired end result. So let's see what I've got here. There's the instructions. Facing the challenges, event generation. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So, the way that this game is played is I'm going to draw a card. That's step one. Flip over the card, and that will give me a prompt. The questions about what the next part of the story is going to be. So, the different suits are connected to a different character. We have Vampire Jack, who is a happy vampire. Not necessarily the most common, but we have, of course, the Lich Lord that I am training under. We have Spectre Gray, who is she's a ghost. And we have, me. So as you can see, this one will be the 3 of clubs. It's an easy challenge. An easy challenge means that I only need I'm gonna get this up on my screen. A 6. A tough challenge will be a 9, and a hard challenge will be a 12. Let me just check one more thing. Okay. Facing challenges, necromancers may make 2 attempts to resolve any given challenge. To determine if your attempt is a success or a failure, decide which stat applies to the situation. Unless instructed otherwise, you may proceed to roll 2d6 and add the value of that stat. Equal to or higher, you succeed. Yay! Otherwise, you fail. So, we have a 10 of spades as the first story beat. Jack feeds on the locals, so you're not surprised to see a mob armed with pitchforks at the base of the hill. They don't see a difference between you and the undead, though. They call you all disgusting freaks of nature. Make the bigots move along. So, obviously, I could try and make them leave by force, which would be a body check. Not that kind of body check, although that kind of body check might be involved in making them go. But more likely, I'd want to go ahead and sweet talk them or verbally assault them or in some way get them to move on. The fact is that if they're going to call us disgusting freaks of nature, there has to be an effective way to turn that right back on themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and do a spirit check. This is a tough challenge, so I need to get a 9. But my spirit is at +4. So let's go ahead and roll the bones, pun intended. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Barely, that was a success. Okay, so, I like to say that my way of dealing that with them would be to try and frighten them away, convince them that it's simply not worth it for them to be here. If they think that there's something feeding on them, it's not going to get any better if they try to actually take out any of your family. And with the emphasis on them being family, if they are disturbed by me, then that seems like a perfectly good reminder that they are in a place that they don't want to be. So that one goes into the success. That's a spirit challenge success. That is off the screen. Get closer. There we go. Actually, probably don't need to actually show off the small version of the PDF. Okay, so that was our first encounter. What's next? A 9 of diamonds. Which way was diamonds? No, that's hearts. There we go. So this has to do with Spectre Gray. Oh. I nearly forgot. I get rewarded for my success. That was a tough challenge, so I do get 1 Newman. And then when I have 6 to spare, then I can increase one of my stat points. So 9 of diamonds. You are trying to remember your mother's recipe for pie, but it just won't come out right. The kitchen is already overflowing with bad pies when you remember that you hate pie crust. You're recalling someone else's memory. That's distressing. So this one is obviously a spirit challenge. I have somehow gotten the memory of someone, probably someone here in the crypt. So what should I do about it? Probably just figure out how to harden my spirit against being against allowing them to get in. This is kind of why we're on the specter path, because there's some kind of ghost, and it feels wrong for me to suggest actually making the ghost go. It's more of a me problem. It's it's me problem. It's not the ghost. It's me. So like I said, this is going to be a spirit check to see if I can figure out how to prepare my mind. I've been reading a lot of X-Men books, so this is probably seriously pulling stories from what was the one that they had in the most recent storyline? It was like a red triangle situation where everyone tried to learn to block out telepathic incursions by envisioning a red triangle. So that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about a red triangle situation. We roll the dice, we get 3, 4, we add 4 to that, and that gives us 8, which is not as much as the 9 we wanted. However, I do get one more chance to try again. And that gives me exactly the same thing. I swear that was a roll. Oh, well. Okay, so let's go ahead and just hit. I said I was just going to track it there, but I'll go ahead and track it here. Not a monument. So that is my first failure. I guess that's fair. 1 success, 1 failure. It goes together well. Okay. Event number 3. Flip that over. 4 of clubs. I have a problem sometimes saying it's absolutely fine in here. Doesn't necessarily come out right. But this is going to be a nice, easy one. There are 2 ways to go about making yourself a body to match your spirit. You can Frankenstein it out of corpses, or you can find a way to grow it yourself. Either way, it's a lot of work. Where are you getting your raw materials? Okay. I don't feel like Frankensteining it is going to be a good solution for, hey, what I think of myself and who I am, who I am and what I look like is going to improve things. I mean, I love my my stitching, but I don't think it would look quite as good actually physically on me. So definitely going to be something that you want to be a little more cautious about. Definitely a lot more growing. Now, necromancy, not necessarily the best thing. So I'm mainly thinking cloning, some kind of cloning situation would be how we would grow the body ourselves. Regardless of if we're Frankensteining or we're cloning, this is about gathering supplies. This is about finding what we need, putting it all together, building the well, let's go ahead and be honest here, shrine. So this is going to be a physical one, not a mental one. So this is easy though. I only need a 6. I also need to keep my water bottle away from my notes so that I can see them properly. There we go. Yeah, so all I need is a 6. I have a +2 to this roll because of my body score, and we roll it, and it comes up 4, 5, 6. That's a match. So here is my first body victory. So if you're not using collected raw material, and all I can think of is Cassandra from Doctor Who, was just this big stretched out thing of skin. But that really does seem like the most logical way to be growing the outside part. Shaping it, it's going to be like repairing repairing anything. And in Pathfinder, at least, healing does come under necromancy. So spellcasting aside, I probably have these looms that I have set up all over the hill to kind of grow stuff and keep it in shape for later use. So looks like when I did my last walkabout, things went well. Nothing was in bad shape. Nothing had gotten into it. So let's move on to the next event, which is a 9 of spades. So that's going to be right here, 9. Okay, this is another tough one. So success will be, ironically, a 9. Okay, I quickly have to pull up because okay. You find an abandoned cheese cave that connects to a series of tunnels under the hill. This is a really real thing. It is actually a converted limestone mine. Specifically, Missouri caves. And this is where it gets a little silly because these caves are actually U.S. government caves where they have stockpiles of government cheese. The phrase government cheese is not something that I expected to be reading today, but there you have it. This obviously is going to be more of a limestone cave that was once used for storage. Probably not government mandated cheese in this particularly situation. So, it contains a laboratory once used to perform horrifying experiments on living humans. Is this part of your master's history? Is this where your own work is headed? Without needing to do a roll, I think that we can safely say that Master Moth, our Lichy master, definitely was doing experiments on humans to get his necromantic skills perfected. It would definitely explain why he is no longer able to be near living flesh, why it rots and freezes at his touch because of the memory of that, the physical memory that has become part of his lichdom. So the question here is, knowing that that's how he was able to succeed, knowing that he does have this immense power, which logically, as an apprentice, I am looking for. This is going to be a spirit check to see if seeing this will make me go, no, I'm going to step away from this. This is a reminder of what I must not do. Or if I fail the spirit check, it's going to be more of a, okay, maybe this isn't such a bad idea. Maybe I should consider this. Let's go ahead and see how that roll goes. 3, 4, 5 plus this is spirit, so 4. That is 9, which is exactly what I need. That means I do earn a point, but it also means that maybe I've got at least one more reminder up here that just because earlier I was called a disgusting freak of nature doesn't mean that I should let myself truly become one of those. So that seems like a very good plan. Okay, so currently I have 2 spirit successes, 1 body success, and 1 nope. So this is going to put us a hard one. I haven't done a hard one yet. Let's go ahead and skip a few. So clubs is about me. There is a beautiful altar in the chapel that cracked a century ago. You've always thought it would look nice if the gap was filled with bone, but the sacred purpose of the test table resists necromancy. It's an interesting test of your skills to see if you can overpower it. So in this case, a spirit check would be me using necromancy, using my force of will against its spirits, against the divine involved. Body would just be brute forcing things together. So, this definitely seems like a battle of wills between me and whatever divinity this altar belongs to. Mostly because I need a 12 for this, and obviously my body score of 2 isn't going to add to this very well. So let's go ahead, cross our fingers, and yeah, cross my fingers and hope to die. Wasn't really what I was going for. 6, 7, and 4. That is 11. Yes. I'm good at math. Fortunately, you don't need to be able to do math to be a game master. Shit. Yeah, you do. Should have thought of that. Let's go ahead and give that one more try. And this time we got snake eyes. This time we actually made things much worse. We went from just not succeeding to completely embarrassing ourselves, and we'll just go ahead and leave it at that. Oops. Okay. Six of clubs. Oops! You dropped a sarcophagus lid on your hand and crushed 3 of your fingers. This is a good opportunity to practice your bone swapping skill. You just need to give yourself a transfusion to prep for the procedure. Okay. I will not look even slightly at transfusions. When an event mentions a transfusion, roll on these tables. So, if I'm able to succeed at this, then I get some kind of benefit to body or spirit. If I fail, then the opposite. So, let's try not failing. Okay, so what was this? This was the 6 of clubs. This is a tough challenge, so I need a 9. Practicing my bone swapping skills. It seems to me that that's definitely going to be a physical thing. Yeah, obviously you need to know a lot about the bones and where they're positioned and how to avoid, but when it comes down to it, it's just going to be about making sure that your hands don't shake, despite the fact that you are literally pulling apart your fingers. Bone transfusion of the fingers sounds like an awful, awful thing. But all I need is a 9, 5, 6, 7, 8. So haven't quite made it. This one's starting bad. Let's not have it continue bad, please. That was worse. Okay, so unfortunately, that is a bad transfusion. Let's go ahead and get it back up there. And I am going to roll the 1 die. 2. This actually makes perfect sense, all things considered. How do I track this so I can see it later? Transfusion more than meat. So this is giving me a -1 to body. So, one transfusion gets fixed when I get a new transfusion. So, this isn't going to be a permanent thing. Let's see where we go next. This pile of cards is upsetting. It's extremely. I would prefer it to not be a huge stack of failures. 2 of clubs. Okay. So at least the next piece of the story isn't going to be embarrassing. Okay. There are necromantic rituals that keep you connected to your magic. Over time, they've probably become part of a comfortable and affirming routine. What is your routine? Do you need any components to perform it? Well, we already discussed that one of the things that I must be doing is some kind of flesh weaving so that you have the ability to go ahead and fix up the zombies, to improve the skeletons, to resolve any issues that may be happening to feeding the ghouls. I mean, let's be honest here. So that's an important part of the ritual. Get up, check the flesh looms, check the state of the bone jars. I'm thinking for a necromancer, you have to be, having multiple jars, one that's probably filled with, several backbones, and you've got the jar of this jar of ribs, and I feel like just spending that time touching and reminding and organizing these symbols of death. And there's probably innards somewhere in it, but it's not really that important. So this is definitely a body test. I don't really know how this is a skill check, but we'll go with it anyway. Maybe to make sure that I didn't screw it up today, or that I haven't forgotten. 4 and 5. So yeah, thanks to the problems I'm having with that last transfusion, that did not go well. Let's see if we can have a bigger number. That was much better. 6 is exactly what I needed to succeed. So I can go ahead and put this into the success pile. Okie dokie. Where does the story go next? 7 of clubs. Okay, it's all about me today. As a side effect of the aesthetic and or hormonal modifications you've been making, you've noticed that your voice is changing. Given the fact that this is about a trans necromancer, that's a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, it's also making it a bit difficult to mod your tone. It might be time to tweak your transfusion recipe a bit. So this is my chance to make up for that recent failure to get my body to work right. If I am tweaking my transfusion, that sounds like I am analyzing how the process works, how what chemicals, what body parts, what all that sort of stuff is needed to create this mix that I'm using to alter things without resorting to Frankensteining it. So I'm going to say that this one is going to be mental. This one's going to be spirit. This is a tough test, which means I need a name. A 9. If I'm using spirit, then I am fortunate enough that I've got that bonus there. So that was terrible. Like I said, I need a 9. That is a 3. The dice hate me, but I get 2 tries every time. So let's go ahead and shake things up a little. I have lost the dice. There they are. So that's 7. This was a spirit check, which means 11. So that fortunately was a success. Okay. Get back to the transfusion page. Okay. So previously, my character was trying to replace the bones in their fingers. They failed, and that led them to having penalties with their body skills, which, that makes sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense to me. So let's see what happens, what replaces that. So that is a 1. Your robes fit like a second skin. The familiarity is grounding. That improves my mental state. So until the next time that I have to go through this, or get to go through this, I'm going to have 5 for my spirit checks. The thing is, I know that towards the end, I am wanting to have, if not both of them equally high, I at least need to make sure that it's reasonably high. So hopefully I can keep flipping spirit and body, and maybe even do something about this terrible thing that's happening. But a spirit success is a spirit success, and a difficult test is another Newman. So I can use that experience that I'm getting from succeeding in these tests to increase my stats. I just need 2 more successes. So let's hope for the best. Okay, 6 of diamonds. You're stressed. You've barely been sleeping, and as a result, you start having auditory and visual hallucinations. Separating the truth from reality makes you question everything. Lady Grey tries to help sort things out, but she has a different perspective. She's coming from the perspective of a dead person, and unfortunately, dead people might not be the best people to discuss the living's mental state with. So this is going to be a tough test. As I just said, I really need to make sure that I don't make everything into spirit checks. But, okay, let's face it. I am currently working with a specter trying to give me advice. It doesn't get more spirit than that. And I'll just go ahead and give myself several penalties to all of my skills there. Okay. So what that translates to for me is I am, on the one hand, listen to her advice on how to sort out the differences between what is real and what is the hallucination from sleep. I mean, obviously the optimal situation would be for me to get myself to sleep, but I really think that because I'm on the verge of going mad from this lack of sleep, it's the madness that I need to deal with first. So let's go ahead and do a spirit check. 5, 6, 7 plus 5, that is 12. That is another very definite spirit test succeeded. What's going to happen next? I don't know. Let's find out. 7 of hearts. That goes back up a few. Vampire Gem. A traveling merchant selling key components for your transfusions recognizes you in the market. They dead name you and make several loud and awful comments about your transition. Jack wants to make them disappear. It's a tempting offer. So the number one problem is that this is someone who has that was weird. This is someone who is of use to me. So what is at stake here is, am I willing to let Jack have his fun and lose a vital source? Or am I going to make the right choice And of course, the fact of the matter is it the right choice? I mean, that's what whenever I come across someone who's having doubts about their transition because of the family and friends they'll lose, the question I always ask is, would you say that to my daughter? If my daughter was there, would you tell her that it was more important for her to keep these friends, family, useful people around her just for the sake of keeping them? Or is it better to let them go? Obviously, in this situation, since this is a fantasy game, we get to let them go in a slightly more aggressive and permanent fashion. So yeah, I think that this is Jack is offering to help me, and I need to have the moral fortitude to say no. Okay. I have a +5, that's 13. This was a tough. And so that is a success. That puts me at 5 XP, basically. This says transfusion. I'm going to ignore that because right now I'm happy with my transfusion, and I don't think that that prompt really gave me a reason to do a transfusion. So I'm going to pass on that one and keep my spirits up, literally. Jack of Diamonds. Well, that doesn't. So this is. What did I say? Did I really say Jack of Diamonds? Jack of Hearts. So Vampire Jack. You need a fresh corpse for a major experiment. You're not likely to find a willing volunteer, so you ask Jack if they can drag the next kill home. Jack agrees on one condition. They want a little taste of you. You need to reestablish some boundaries. Okay, this is a hard challenge. I would very much like this to be about me proving my strength over Jack. However, I don't think that I can prove my strength over Jack, so that doesn't necessarily work out so well. If I succeed at this, I'm going to get 2 more Newman points, which I can put towards my body skill. So it's probably best for me to use my words, not use any no words. But yeah, try and convince him that I may be under tutelage, but I'm still a necromancer, and just because I'm being polite doesn't mean that everything has to be a bargain. Big numbers, no whammy. That is indeed whammy. That is 10. I'm 2 off, so let's go ahead and give it one more try. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12. So I am able to convince Jack to do his damn job for me, or do this damn job for me, without demanding specific things in return, and I do enough for him. And now my body score is at 3. Not that probably anyone can see that, but so we'll see. Okay, an easy one, I'm betting. Diamonds are back towards the end. Love comes in many forms. Of course, Lady Grey loves you in her own big sisterly way, but she doesn't have a body and she can't even squeeze your shoulder to reassure you. How long has it been since you were hugged? She's on a mission to get you one. What is the positive outcome here? So is the problem here that Lady Grey wants me to get a hug? And as nice as that sounds, it's still creepy that she's trying to probably possess a stranger. Am I helping her? Am I trying to dissuade her from this? Like, am I going to the market to say, oh, that person, that's who I'd like to hug me? That sounds awful. Let's go ahead and assume that the successful approach is to convince her, please do not do that. You're very kind, but oh no, let's not get hugs from random strangers. I only needed a 6 for this. That's 5. I have an extra +5, so that is a successful check. I don't think I have any way that I could physically make a specter not do what she wants. That's just not how things work. 5 of hearts. That's back to Jack. Jack thinks you need to get out of the hill more often and out into the world. They go to a lot of parties and want to bring you as their +1. They wouldn't be caught dead with you in public looking like that, though. It's time for a makeover. This one I can easily call a body skill check because, it's really all about sitting still. I mean, we all know about the Anne Rice vampires. We all know just how very skilled they are at the makeup and the looking pretty and the etc. So it's really just no matter what he does, trusting him and keeping still. So this is going to be an easy body check. I get 3 on whatever I roll here, which is good because that just barely is a success. So I am now able to go out into a lovely party as his +1, probably using some formal suit that he had available. Oh, okay. This is where it could get very difficult. You might be able to alter your brain and body to produce stress, growth, and sex hormones in different ratios. Jack knows a lot about brain chemistry, and they say that this is a risky procedure. +1 wither until this is successfully resolved. I believe Wither is a score thing to decide how the game ends and does not have any. Yeah. So this won't affect me now. But it's going to change how the game ends. So this is about. This could be about making the decisions and learning the skills that will make sure that this goes well. Or it could be about the procedure itself. If it's the procedure itself, that is going to be a body skill check. And I really think that's what I should treat it as. So this is hard. This is going to be a 12 that I need to succeed. I get a +3 on the roll. That is 7. 10 is less than 12 currently. Ooh, but the second try was a success. So that is a very valuable body check succeeded. So I am very happy with that. There is no I just did a very good thing, and I'm very happy about it. Queen of Clubs. Another hard one. Ooh, I like this phrase right here. During a routine procedure, something goes wrong. You clip a nerve and lose all feeling in your dominant hand. Repairing the damage with your offhand is proving incredibly difficult. You might need to practice on somebody else. So, on the one hand, this could be a question of, am I able to physically get around not being familiar with using my offhand? On the other hand, pun not intended, this could be about getting someone who can help me practice my surgery skills. Remember earlier when I had an encounter which involved me deciding that I was not going to experiment on living people? This feels like I'm changing my mind here. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think we know that there's a market that I visit, and in the market, there must be some kind of medical tent, medical hut, some place that people go to deal with wounds. Thinking medieval terms, but none of them are coming to mind. So that's my current generic phrasing: medical tent. So this encounter is about me trying to help someone who has some kind of wound or damage, and try and fix their plight with my offhand. So, this is a body encounter. Let's go ahead and roll them bones. 4, 5, 6 plus 3 is well under the 12 I am looking for. Let's go ahead and give this one more try. And although 7 is sometimes a good number, it does not help me out here. So that I am going to use magic. I'm going to use magic to make their wound heal, and I'm going to use magic to make my wound heal, and I'll go ahead and mark that like this. Because that means that I get this bonus to my body skill, which means that my body and spirit are now matched. Hopefully I've been doing good enough that that's not going to bite me too much in the ass at endgame. 8 of spades. You find a dog in the garden shed chewing on a human hand. There's a fresh corpse around here somewhere, and townsfolk might come looking for it. There were human tooth marks on the limb you found. You're not sure what to do about that. If nobody finds the body, then there's no problem, right? So all I have to do is convince the dog to take me where we're going. I could argue either way, but I think that between the fact that I need to get the hand away from the dog, I need to. Yes. As you can see from all my failures here, very brutal. Keeping up with the dog in the forests, and maybe dealing with the cannibal. Although, that just sounds like I can make a friend who would be useful for other things, because God knows I've got supplies of bones lying around. Okay, 6 and 3. That is 9, which is what I needed for this one. So we can just go ahead and put that one straight into the body success file. And then call it. Okay, 4 of spades. Okay, this is definitely a spirit one. I can tell right from the start. If you die, your ties to necromancy almost guarantee that you will persist in some way. Will anyone grieve your death? Has anyone grieved the loss of you, or what they perceived as losing you in some way? How does that make you feel? So, this is the kind of prompt that most scares me when trying to tell the story of someone whose shoes I haven't walked in. Because this opens up a fairly generic story if not done right. The classic story of, okay, here's the necromancer. Why did they become a necromancer? Well, necromancy is evil, so it was probably tied to them being trans. And that's not the story that I want to tell. Like, I accept that for the sake of the story, the reason why my character became a necromancer is to try and match body and spirit. But it can't have started with rejection. It had to have started with the technology available. And of course, this is a fantasy game. I'm using technology as a very much an air quoted phrase. The temples aren't going to help because you're changing what the divine has decided, as we're all aware of. That's not a generic story, that's just fact. The wizards would be limited to glamours, illusions, making the appearance of who you think you might be. And I phrase it that way because obviously a glamour is all based, it's someone else doing the illusion. So necromancy was the next logical choice in a fantasy world. So I don't think that they were abandoned. I think there was an understanding, an unspoken agreement that this is the path their life needed to take. But I don't think there was any. I think the loss was a decision, and that there is still someone out there who very much cares for them, very much hope that they're succeeding, that they're happy. Hopefully more than just one. So this is really just seeing if the thoughts of all that are affecting me negatively. So this is just an easy check. It's literally impossible for me to fail this one, and that was not a failure. So. Okay. Ooh. Okay, that one got a little intense. Which is hilarious given the fact that it was an easy one. 9 of clubs. Be something happy. You have to go farther into the countryside than usual to collect supplies. You're alone, you're stressed out, and these strangers are aggressive. It is difficult not to escalate the situation by raising some protective skeletons. Plus, you're due for a transfusion. Okay. So I've run in, well, yeah, this is pretty binary. This is a spirit check. A successful spirit check means that I am able to calm myself down enough to make sure that I don't escalate things too far. That was flip. Let's go ahead and try the roll option. Okay, 3, 4, 5. This is a tough challenge. So 9. 9 is what I needed. 9 is what I got. So let me go ahead and say so a few more times. So. Okay, so I am replaced. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Okay, so I am replacing my +1 bonus to spirit with a +2 bonus to body. I like that. An old wound suddenly heals as part of the transfusion. This feels like progress. Progress or not, it definitely sounds like I'm going to be adding 6 to anything that I can blame on the body. So, Jack of Spades. For example, this. Spades is Lich Lord Moth. Skelenons have been attending to their duties, bedecked in chains and crowns of flowers. That's flower crowns and flower chains. The nuns have no personality. I mean, maybe there's also chains that, but I think that's what we're going with here. The nuns have no personalities. They didn't decorate themselves. Is there a weird skelecult starting somewhere, or is Master Moth going through a weird phase? So this is another of those situations where I'm not doing the encounter check to see if anything specifically happens to me or anything like that. It's whether I was affected by what I find out here. The fact of the matter is that as amusing to me as it is, to think of a lich all of a sudden coming down with an intense desire to do flower arranging, I don't see how his inability, he can't touch flesh. He wouldn't be able to touch nature safely either. Also, the idea that there is some kind of cult to the dead that is sneaking in and sneakily, under the cover of darkness, decorating the Skelenuns. That's much funnier to me. So I absolutely like that idea. What am I doing about it? I mean, the only thing I can think of that I'd really want to do about it is to convince them not to do it under the cover of darkness. If they want to worship the undead, then we need to do it in a proper place. I mean, this is a priory, for God's sake. There's an altar to a good god and stuff. We can make this work as long as Jack's not around and Master Moth doesn't get weird about it. So let's see if I am able to worthwhilely figure this out. This is a spirit check, so this is a +4, and I need a 12. I love it when they fly like that. 8, 9, 10, 11, just 1 point short, but I get 2 tries. And that goes into the failure column. So yeah, I've still got people who are going to be wandering in and out of the tombs at all hours. Well, either Jack is going to appreciate that or he's not. Although it would make that one time I asked them to bring the corpse in for me a lot easier. 4 of Hearts. Speaking of Vampire Jack, 4 of Hearts. Jack is bored and wants to play. They tease you for an hour before asking if you know how to dance. They're willing to teach you if you're willing to learn. They can't imagine a better way for a person to develop body awareness, and they think you're in dire need. Okay, this is nice and simple because on the one hand, obviously learning to dance is a body skill check. I need a 6. My body skill is currently 6, so look, dice. Yeah, I just flipped it instead of roll. So that was a success. Nothing too exciting or confusing about that. Just a nice little interlude that was easy to resolve. And sticking with Jack, Jack experiences a moment of curiosity. This is like the other one where it's going to be one of the most brutal thought exercises, whilst, having an absolutely trivial role to go with it. They want to know more about you. They can't imagine a less fulfilling life than one spent just studying in a desecrated convent. So they ask a lot of questions about your past. Where did you come from? Why did you leave? So if we assume that Wyvern was born female, then she probably would have been trained in the arts of witchcraft. Obviously, witchcraft and sorcery, necromancy, are on opposite sides because witchcraft is all about life. It's all about potions and nature, and necromancy is. So when Wyvern figured out that they were not a woman, witchcraft would no longer be phrasing. If you are taught a skill that is traditionally performed by a certain gender, and of course, I'm talking about in the fantasy world more than anything else. If because of this, you make that kind of magic, you tie it to the feminine, and you realize that you are not feminine, you're going to need to abandon that. So the daughter of a witch looking over a village on the edge of a forest. And Wyvern realizes that they are not who others tell them they are. And that they need to come to terms with that. So they left at a young age to start trying to find a way to make body and soul match and find other means of. I mean, they grew up in magic, so magic would still be their life, would still be important. So that's I think that answers Jack's questions right there. This would be a spiritual thing, but unless I suddenly had numbers change, yeah, 6. So I have 4. That's 4. That's 8. All is good. 5 of clubs. Put this toward the back. 1 off. Some of your best friends are undead. How does your access to necromantic magic change the relationship with grief? Do you have any desire to engage with anyone from your past that you have lost to death? How do you navigate those relationships? So, on the one hand, we have the skeletons and the zombies and skeletons that serve Master Moth and Wyvern. On the other hand, we have Jack. We have Spectre Gray. She stayed behind for some reason. Maybe it's that she still had something left unfinished. Maybe she was a practitioner and just decided not to go. If they're not preparing for death, preparing to stay on, then death is death for most people. So there really isn't much to you could temporarily pull them out of whatever place they are, but going back to the altar that I tried to fix, whoever's realm they're staying in, you're going to have to fight for even 5 minutes with them. So it's easiest to just accept that death is death. And once someone else dies, unless they are very much, prepared for the trip, there's nothing more to talk to. And now I'm going to move the entire deck of cards. And all I wanted was the top one. And that was another easy test, so automatic success, because 4 plus 2 is very easy to get when the lowest number you can roll is 2. 8 of hearts. Nope, wrong way. Okay. Think I had flipped enough that I'd know by now. You find a missing person poster with your old face on it. Who is looking for you and why? You're due for a transfusion, but Jack loves a mystery and won't leave the matter alone. If they find the person responsible before you, there's no telling what will happen. So obviously, in any kind of situation like this, I have the advantage of being able to search for information in the daylight, which Jack doesn't. So I'll be able to get a lot of research done that he won't. But who So we've already established that although I broke with my family, it wasn't from a painful place. I may have had to say goodbye and move on, but it wasn't understanding. But if someone was looking for me, it would probably be a friend from the village. And they obviously would not have known unless they really got into a conversation about the topic. And I don't know if just because Mother was fine with the decision that she'd really want to talk about it. So this is probably kindness and not malice, but it's still not a good thing. So this is going to be a body check. I really hate that I use that phrase. This is going to be a check using the body skill. Because it's really just a matter of getting to them and helping them understand before Jack has too much of an opportunity to look into it themselves. Not to mention physically going around and getting rid of all the missing person posters. So body check, which currently is at +6. This is a tough, so I just need 9. And that is the best roll that I've had all night, which there were so many places where I would have much rather had that 11 show up. But no, we go ahead and we have it come for this somewhat meaningless little episode. Not some of the huge jacks or aces or anything like that. What do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's not really that bad. 8 of clubs. Oops. Okay, I was supposed to do a transfusion there, but okay, let's go ahead and pull up the old dictionary. Okay, your hair starts falling out in clumps. Your eyebrows and eyelashes are the next to go. After making a minor tweak, you develop extreme hirsutism. Which okay, technically modern usage of it would be for women primarily, but excessive body hair on parts of the body where hair is normally absent or minimal is the actual definition. So everything follows. So basically, the hair that should be there fell out. I made a change, and the hair that shouldn't be there, just weird ass places. So this is going to be, this is really just a basic, am I able to get the transfusion successfully or not? I think that's going to be a spirit check. 5, 4 is 9. I needed a 9, so all is good. 2, 4, 5. Need one more, and then I can go ahead and update a skill. But this was a mandatory transfusion, so no, just one. There we go. 6. You have a tiny, exciting breakthrough. Transfusion is temporary, so I have lost that bonus to body. Didn't get as much use out of it as I might have liked, but a success is a success. Okay. Perfect timing. I was starting to get scared. We have reached the midpoint of the game. Master Moth calls you into his office for somewhat literal heart-to-heart. He's feeling nostalgic and wants a new one installed. While you are elbow-deep in his chest cavity, he remarks on how much you remind him of a much younger version of himself, so determined and focused. He laughs, then asks you to relax a little. He never did in life. He confesses he clamped down so hard that he joined the nunnery on the hill. While it was a good place to study and experiment with magic, he never celebrated himself until well after he was dead. He wants better for you. While you are stitching him back up, Moth admires your handiwork. He is certain your accomplishments will surpass his in due time. The hope that has been smoldering within you now blazes like a torch. You refuse to let that inner flame be extinguished, so you exert your will and take charge of the situation. Examine your list of failed challenges and select up to 6 prompts that you are interested in revisiting right now. Count the number of times you have failed up until this moment. Divide that number in half. Rounding up, you may now make this many attempts to resolve this group of revisited attempts. From now on, you may use your Newman to motivate yourself, expending 1 Newman each time you wish to revisit a failed challenge. You cannot revisit events that you have already successfully resolved, but you still gain Newman when you successfully resolve tough and hard challenges. If you fail at a reattempt, then you get to level up, and if you revisit events after you are fully leveled up, you may choose to roll 2d6. Okay, I'm a little confused about that one. One of these may be a typo. I will have to look into that. Yeah, I'll have to drop them a note. So I will go ahead and resolve this midpoint next week. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, join me again next time. And as always, remember to be one of the good ones, because there's way too many of the bad. Good night, and I will see you next week.